Some people shouldn't be parents if they can't even feed their own kid. Kate's cruel comment slipped out as she watched the well-dressed man struggle to help his disabled son eat. The boy's hands trembled uncontrollably, spilling soup down his shirt while his father fumbled with the spoon, his movements awkward and uncertain. She was just a tired waitress with aching feet and fading dreams. He was Jack Reynolds, a billionaire with empty mansions and a broken heart. Their worlds couldn't be more different, except for one devastating truth. Kate's sister killed Jack's wife 3 years ago, and now, as Kate rushes to help his seizing son, Jack finally finds the woman whose face has haunted him since the accident. Some mistakes destroy lives. Others, somehow, begin them. Before we continue, comment from where you are watching from. Rain hammered against the windows of Joe's Diner as Kate Miller wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time that day. Her back ached, her feet throbbed. 12 hours into a double shift and she still had bills that wouldn't get paid. "You need anything else, Earl?" she called to the old man nursing the same cup of coffee for the past hour. "I'm good, Katie girl. You look dead on your feet, though." She forced a smile. "That obvious, huh?" The rejection letter from the culinary school scholarship program still burned in her pocket. 3rd time applying. 3rd time rejected. At 32, her dreams of becoming a chef were slipping through her fingers like sand. The bell above the door jingled, and Kate bit back a groan. 10 minutes to closing. Of course, someone would come in now. A man struggled through the door, pushing a wheelchair with a boy who looked about 12. Both were soaked from the rain. The boy's thin frame shook with cold, his dark hair plastered to his pale face. Something about his trembling seemed different, not just from the chill. Kate watched as the man parked the wheelchair at a table and awkwardly tried to help the boy out of his wet jacket. His expensive watch caught the light, probably worth more than she made in 3 months. "Be with you in a minute," she called, less warmth in her voice than usual. The boy's shaking grew worse. The man, his father, Kate presumed, fumbled with the menu, then ordered when she approached. "Chicken soup for my son, please, and just coffee for me." Kate nodded, stealing glances as she prepared their order. The boy's condition was clearly more than just being cold. Some kind of palsy or neurological disorder. His hands wouldn't stop trembling. When she brought the soup, the father tried to help his son eat. It was painful to watch. The spoon wobbled between his uncertain fingers. Soup spilled. The boy's face flushed with embarrassment. "Dad, I can do it," he mumbled, but his own attempt sent soup splashing onto the table. Kate felt a stab of irritation. This guy was clearly wealthy. Designer watch, tailored shirt beneath the wet coat. Why didn't he have help for his son? Why wasn't he better at this? The comment slipped out before she could stop it. Under her breath, but loud enough, "Some people shouldn't be parents if they can't even feed their own kid." The moment the words left her mouth, she regretted them. The man's shoulders stiffened. He'd heard her. Their eyes met across the diner. His were hollow with exhaustion and something else. A grief so raw it made Kate look away first. "I'm sorry," she started to say, but the boy suddenly went rigid in his chair, his eyes rolling back. "Ethan!" The father's panicked voice cut through the diner. "It's happening again." The boy was having a seizure. Kate dropped her towel and rushed over. "Move the chair back. Give him space," she ordered, all trace of judgment gone from her voice. Her sister Sarah had epilepsy before the accident. Kate knew what to do. She gently turned Ethan on his side while his father watched helplessly. "Has this happened before?" she asked, keeping her tone calm while checking her watch to time the seizure. "Yes. His medication. I think I got the dosage wrong." The man's voice cracked. "I'm still learning all this. His mother used to—" He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. The seizure subsided after about 40 seconds. Kate helped Ethan sit up when he came around, disoriented and embarrassed. "Hey there," she said softly. "You're okay. Just breathe for me." Ethan blinked up at her. "Sorry," he whispered. "Nothing to be sorry for," Kate assured him, something in her chest tightening at the apology. This kid was used to apologizing for existing. "I'm Kate." "Ethan," he replied weakly. "That's my dad, Jack." Jack Reynolds was staring at Kate with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. Something like recognition flickered in his eyes. "Have we met before?" he asked abruptly. Kate shook her head. "I don't think so." She would have remembered a face like his, the kind that belonged on magazine covers despite the exhaustion etched into it. "No, I'm sure of it." His voice had an edge now. "You look like—" He stopped himself. Kate returned to businesslike efficiency, helping Ethan clean up. "Let me get you some fresh soup. On the house." As she walked back to the kitchen, she felt Jack's eyes following her. A chill ran down her spine that had nothing to do with the rain still beating against the windows. What she didn't know, couldn't know, was that Jack Reynolds had recognized her instantly. Not from meeting her, but from the dozens of hours he'd spent staring at news articles about the accident that killed his wife. Articles that often featured pictures of the drunk driver's family leaving the courthouse. Pictures of Kate supporting her sister Sarah, who had fallen asleep at the wheel after a night of drinking, crossing the center line and hitting Anna Reynolds' car head-on. Jack had carried Kate's image in his wallet for 3 years, alongside the last photo taken of his wife, a reminder of what was taken from him, of who took it. And now, by some twist of fate, she was helping his son through a seizure, showing more natural care and capability than he'd managed in the 3 years since becoming a single father. Fate had a twisted sense of humor. Kate returned with fresh soup and sat across from Ethan, showing him a different way to hold the spoon that worked better with his tremors. "See? Just brace your wrist against the table like this," she demonstrated. "My sister had similar issues. This helped her." Jack watched Kate's hands, steady, confident, gentle, the same hands that had comforted the sister who killed his wife. His stomach churned with conflicting emotions. "You have experience with this," he said. Not a question. Kate nodded without looking up. "My sister had seizures too. I took care of her for years." What she didn't add, until the accident that left Sarah in a coma for 6 months, followed by years of rehabilitation that drained every penny Kate had saved for culinary school. "Where is your sister now?" Jack asked, his voice carefully neutral. Kate stiffened. People didn't usually ask follow-up questions about her life. "She's in a care facility upstate. I visit when I can afford the bus ticket." After finishing his soup, Ethan's eyelids grew heavy. Jack checked his watch. "We should get home. It's past his medication time." "The rain's still bad," Kate said, glancing at the window. "I can call you a cab." Jack shook his head. "I have a driver waiting." Of course he did. As they prepared to leave, Jack reached for his wallet. Kate waved him off. "It's on the house." "I insist." He placed $300 bills on the table. Kate stared at the money. The soup was $7. "Consider it a thank you for helping with Ethan." Something in his tone made her uncomfortable, like he was paying a debt rather than leaving a tip. She pushed the money back toward him. "I don't need your charity." Jack's eyes hardened. "It's not charity. It's fair compensation for services rendered." "Services?" Kate felt her temper flare. "I'm not a service provider. I'm just a person who helped another person. Keep your money." Jack studied her, his expression unreadable. Finally, he took 2 bills back, leaving 100 on the table. "The soup and coffee, then." "Keep the change." Kate bit her tongue. $93 in change would cover half her electric bill. Pride wouldn't keep her apartment warm. As Jack wheeled Ethan toward the door, the boy turned back. "Thank you, Kate. You're good at this. Better than the nurse's dad keeps hiring." Kate smiled despite herself. "You're welcome, Ethan. Take care of yourself." Jack paused at the door, turning back to face her. "I meant what I said. You have a gift with him." He hesitated, then added, "I could use someone like you." Kate blinked. "Excuse me?" "I need help with Ethan. Someone who understands his condition. Someone he responds to." Kate laughed, short and sharp. You're offering me a job. As what? A nanny? As a care assistant, full benefits, salary starting at $80,000. The number hit Kate like a physical blow. $80,000, more than 4 times what she made at the diner. You don't even know me. I know what I saw tonight. Jack's voice was firm. I know capability when I see it. Kate's mind raced. This had to be a joke. Rich guys didn't walk into diners and offer life-changing jobs to waitresses who insulted them. Why would you trust your son with a complete stranger? Something flickered in Jack's eyes. A calculation, a decision made. You're right, that would be irresponsible. He reached into his pocket and handed her a business card. Reynolds Biotech. Come by tomorrow at 10 a.m. for a proper interview, if you're interested. After they left, Kate stood in the empty diner, staring at the card. Reynolds Biotech. Even she knew that name, the pharmaceutical company that had developed breakthrough treatments for degenerative diseases. Worth billions. She slipped the card into her pocket next to the rejection letter, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Kate's apartment was barely bigger than a storage unit. 1 room with a kitchenette, a bathroom where you could shower and use the toilet simultaneously, and a mattress that doubled as a couch during the day. But it was hers, and the rent was only 2 weeks overdue. She kicked off her shoes and collapsed onto the mattress, pulling out Jack Reynolds' card again. She should throw it away. The whole thing screamed, too good to be true. Yet, $80,000. Benefits. No more double shifts. No more choosing between electricity and medication for Sarah. She reached for her laptop, a refurbished model that wheezed to life, and searched Jack Reynolds Biotech. Thousands of results appeared. News articles, Forbes profiles, photos of a striking man in expensive suits cutting ribbons at hospital wings and giving speeches at charity events. The same man who couldn't feed his son soup. One headline caught her eye. Reynolds Biotech CEO's wife killed in tragic accident. Kate's finger hovered over the link. She clicked. The article was 3 years old. Anna Reynolds, philanthropist and wife of biotech billionaire Jack Reynolds, killed by a drunk driver on Highway 27. The driver, Sarah Miller, had survived with critical injuries. Kate's blood turned to ice. Sarah Miller, her sister. The room spun. Kate scrolled frantically through the article, searching for any mention of herself. Nothing explicit, but there was a photo from the courthouse. Sarah in a wheelchair, and beside her, Kate, face partly visible as she helped her sister. Jack Reynolds had recognized her. He knew exactly who she was. This wasn't a job offer. This was... What? Revenge? A sick game? Kate's phone rang, startling her. Unknown number. Hello? She answered cautiously. Ms. Miller. Jack Reynolds. His voice was different on the phone. Colder, more controlled. How did you get my number? I have resources. A pause. I assume by now you've realized who I am. Who you are. Kate's throat tightened. What do you want from me? Exactly what I said. I need someone for Ethan. You're qualified. Cut the crap. Kate's voice shook. Your wife? My sister. Yes. The word was clipped, final. So this is some kind of revenge plot? Hire your wife's killer's sister? Make me pay somehow. Jack's laugh was hollow. If I wanted revenge, there are simpler ways to get it. No, Miss Miller. This is about my son. He hasn't responded to anyone the way he responded to you tonight, not since his mother died. I don't believe you. Believe what you want. The offer stands. 10 a.m. tomorrow. He hung up. Kate sat in the dark, the phone clutched in her hand. She should call the police. Report harassment. But what would she say? A billionaire offered me a high-paying job? She thought of Ethan's face, the way he'd thanked her, the genuine connection she'd felt. Then she thought of Sarah, lying in that sterile facility, her future destroyed by one terrible mistake, a mistake that had also destroyed the Reynolds family. If you enjoyed this story so far, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. It costs nothing but means everything to support these meaningful stories about human connection and redemption. Thank you for being here. Kate set her alarm for 8 a.m. She would go to the interview, not for Jack Reynolds, not for the money, but because she needed answers. Because somehow, after 3 years, the universe had connected her to the family her sister had broken. And, perhaps, though she wouldn't admit this to herself yet, because in Ethan's eyes, she'd seen a chance to make something right in a world where so much had gone wrong. Reynolds Biotech occupied a gleaming 30-story building in the heart of downtown. Kate stood in the marble lobby clutching her worn purse, wearing the only dress she owned that wasn't visibly faded. She felt like an imposter. "Ms. Miller?" A woman with a sleek blonde bob and a pantsuit that probably cost more than Kate's rent approached. "I'm Lisa Chambers, Mr. Reynolds' assistant. He's expecting you." Kate followed Lisa into an elevator that required a keycard to access the top floor. Her stomach lurched as they ascended, and not just from the motion. "So you're the one," Lisa remarked, studying Kate with undisguised curiosity. "The one what?" Lisa's smile didn't reach her eyes. "The one who helped Ethan. Mr. Reynolds rarely brings candidates directly to his office." The elevator opened directly into a reception area, and beyond that, a vast corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows. Jack stood looking out at the city, his back to the door. "Mr. Reynolds, Ms. Miller is here," Lisa announced. Jack turned. In daylight, dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, he looked even more imposing, less like the struggling father from last night and more like the billionaire CEO from the internet searches. "Thank you, Lisa. That will be all." Lisa hesitated, clearly wanting to stay and observe, before reluctantly leaving. Silence stretched between them. Kate refused to speak first. Finally, Jack gestured to a chair opposite his desk. "Please, sit." "I'd rather stand." "As you wish." He leaned against his desk. "You came." "I want to understand what this is." Jack studied her. "I told you. A job offer." "Why? Why would you want me anywhere near your family after what my sister did?" Jack's jaw tightened. "Because I've hired 7 care specialists in the last year. None lasted more than a month. None connected with Ethan. You did." "That's it? Nothing to do with Sarah?" "Would you believe me if I said no?" Kate's laugh was bitter. "Not a chance." Jack nodded as if her answer confirmed something. "At least you're honest." He reached for a folder on his desk. "Your background check. Quite thorough." Kate's anger flared. "You had no right." "I had every right. You'd be working with my son." He opened the folder. Kate Miller, 32. Never married, no children. 5 years of community college, never completed. 8 different jobs in the last decade. Currently 3 months behind on student loans. Sister's medical bills in collection. Applied to Hudson Culinary Institute 3 times. Rejected 3 times. Each fact hit like a slap. Her entire life reduced to a series of failures and debts. "Are you done?" Kate asked, her voice tight. Jack closed the folder. "Almost. One thing the background check doesn't explain is why a woman with your obvious intelligence is still serving coffee at a diner at 32. Not everyone has opportunities handed to them on silver platters." "No," Jack agreed. "Some people have those opportunities taken away." He paused. "Like when they give up their education to care for a sister who drove drunk and killed someone." Kate felt the blood drain from her face. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? Your sister made one terrible choice. It cost my wife her life. It cost Ethan his mother. It cost you your future." Jack's voice remained even, controlled. "I've had 3 years to think about that night. About the ripple effects of one person's actions." "Why am I really here?" Kate demanded. The door opened before Jack could answer. Ethan wheeled himself in, face lighting up when he saw Kate. "You came," he exclaimed. "Dad said you might." Kate's anger melted at the sight of him. "Hey, Ethan." Are you going to help me with my exercises? The therapist always makes them boring. Jack watched their interaction, something unreadable in his expression. Ethan, Miss Miller and I are still discussing the position. But she's perfect, Ethan insisted. She doesn't treat me like I'm going to break, and she knows how to help when the shaking gets bad. Kate looked between father and son, understanding dawning. Jack wasn't just offering a job, he was desperate. The world saw a powerful CEO, but at home, he was a drowning, single father. Ethan, why don't you show Ms. Miller the therapy room while I finish some calls? Jack suggested. Ethan eagerly led Kate to an adjoining room equipped like a physical therapy center. As they worked through some exercises, Kate found herself impressed by his determination. Dad tries, Ethan said suddenly, as if reading her thoughts. But he works a lot, and he gets this look sometimes, like he's seeing Mom instead of me. Kate's heart twisted. That must be hard. Ethan shrugged with the resilience only children possess. It's not his fault. He's sad a lot. How about you? Are you sad a lot? Sometimes, but I'm used to it. The simplicity of his answer broke something in Kate's chest. This child, this bright, determined child, had normalized grief in a way no kid should have to. When they returned to Jack's office, she'd made her decision. I'll take the job, she said without preamble, but I have conditions. Jack raised an eyebrow. Which are? I'm not living in. I keep my apartment. I want a proper contract with health benefits that start immediately. And I want to be clear, I'm doing this for Ethan, not for you. Jack's lips twitched, almost a smile. Anything else? Kate took a deep breath. Yes, I want you to know that I'm sorry about your wife. Every day I wish Sarah hadn't gotten behind that wheel, but I won't spend this job apologizing for something I didn't do. The silence stretched between them, charged with unspoken grief and resentment. Fair enough, Jack finally said. Lisa will prepare the paperwork. As Kate turned to leave, Jack added, One more thing. Why did you really accept? Kate paused at the door. Because 3 years ago my sister destroyed 2 families in one night. Maybe this is a chance to rebuild something from the wreckage. The first weeks working for the Reynolds family were a careful dance around raw wounds. Kate arrived each morning at 7 and left at 6, helping Ethan with his exercises, medications, and schoolwork. Jack was often absent, buried in work, a ghost in his own home. But slowly, things began to change. Ethan's tremors improved with consistent therapy. He laughed more, and occasionally Kate would catch Jack watching them with an expression she couldn't quite name, something between wonder and pain. One evening, as Kate prepared to leave, Jack appeared in the doorway of Ethan's room. He's asleep, Kate whispered, gathering her things. Jack nodded. He's doing better. The doctor noticed it too. He's a fighter, like his mother. Jack's voice caught on the word. Kate hesitated by the door. Tell me about her, if you want to. Jack looked surprised by the request. For a moment she thought he'd refuse. Anna was brilliant, he finally said. A neurologist. That's how we met. She was researching the same condition Ethan has. Cruel irony. She was going to find a treatment. His eyes grew distant. She was better at all of this than I am. All of what? Being human, Jack admitted with a bitter laugh. I build companies. She built connections. The vulnerability in his voice tugged at something in Kate. For the first time, she saw beyond the billionaire, beyond the grieving widower, to the man struggling to be what his son needed. I found this, Jack said suddenly, pulling a photograph from his pocket. I've carried it for 3 years. Kate took it, her breath catching. It was the courthouse photo, her supporting Sarah as they left the sentencing hearing. Jack's wife's funeral had been that same day. Why did you keep this? Kate asked, her voice barely audible. Jack took the photo back, his fingers brushing hers. At first, as a reminder of what I lost, of who took it. His eyes met hers. Now, I'm not sure anymore. The admission hung in the air between them. Honest, raw, confusing. I should go, Kate said, stepping back. Jack nodded. See you tomorrow. But as weeks turned to months, these small moments of connection multiplied. A shared smile when Ethan mastered a difficult exercise, a quiet conversation after he'd gone to bed, the careful building of something neither of them had expected, not quite friendship, but something equally fragile. Kate began bringing home-cooked meals after noticing they ate mostly takeout. She'd prepare dishes in her tiny apartment kitchen using recipes her grandmother had taught her. "This is amazing," Jack said one evening over her lasagna. "Where did you learn to cook like this?" "My grandmother. I was going to be a chef before." She trailed off. "Before Sarah's accident," Jack finished. Kate nodded. The elephant in the room, always present, sometimes smaller, but never gone. "Why didn't you go back afterward? To culinary school?" Kate's laugh was humorless. "On a waitress's salary." "While paying for Sarah's care?" "I tried, applied for scholarships 3 times. Jack was quiet for a moment. "What would you do if money wasn't an issue?" "Open a small restaurant," Kate answered without hesitation. "Nothing fancy, just good food that makes people feel something." Their eyes met across the table, and for a heartbeat Kate forgot who they were, forgot the history that bound and separated them. Then Ethan's voice broke the moment. "Dad, can Kate come to my science fair tomorrow?" Jack looked at his son, then back at Kate. "That's up to Kate." "I'd love to," she said, smiling at Ethan. Later that night, after Ethan was asleep, Jack found Kate gathering her things to leave. "I've been meaning to ask," he said, leaning against the door frame. "How's your sister doing?" The question caught Kate off guard. "Better physically. The memory issues are still bad. She doesn't remember the accident." "Does she know you work for me?" Kate shook her head. "I haven't told her." "Why not?" "Because she'd feel guilty. Because it would hurt her. Because ... Kate hesitated. Because this is complicated enough without her knowing." Jack studied her. "Yes, it is complicated." Something in his tone made Kate look up. Their eyes locked and the air between them seemed to vibrate with unspoken feelings. "Kate," Jack began, then stopped. "I don't know how to do this." "Do what?" "Feel something for the sister of the woman who killed my wife." Kate's heart stuttered. "You don't feel anything for me." "Don't I?" His voice was rough. "Then why do I look forward to seeing you every morning? Why does Ethan ask when you're coming back the moment you leave? Why does this house feel alive again for the first time in 3 years?" Kate stepped back. "This is a mistake." "Is it?" Jack moved closer. "Or is it the universe's twisted way of giving us both a second chance?" Before she could answer, his phone rang. Jack answered, his expression instantly changing to concern. "I'll be right there," he said, hanging up. "It's Sarah. She had a seizure at the care facility. They're taking her to Memorial Hospital." "What?" Kate felt the blood drain from her face. "I need to go." "I'll drive you," Jack said, already grabbing his keys. The hospital waiting room was a familiar purgatory for Kate. She'd spent countless hours in places just like this after the accident. What she hadn't expected was Jack sitting beside her, his steady presence a strange comfort in the chaos. "Family of Sarah Miller," the doctor called. Kate stood. To her surprise, Jack stood with her. "I'm her sister," Kate said. "This is—" "I'm a friend," Jack finished simply. The doctor nodded. "She's stabilized. The seizure was relatively minor, but we'd like to keep her overnight for observation." "Can I see her?" Kate asked. "Briefly. She's resting." Kate turned to Jack. "You don't have to stay." "I know." His eyes held hers. "I want to." Sarah looked small in the hospital bed, her face still bearing scars from the windshield that had shattered against it 3 years ago. Her eyes fluttered open as Kate approached. "Hey, troublemaker," Kate said softly, taking her hand. Sarah smiled weakly. Sorry for the drama. It's what you do best. Sarah's gaze drifted past Kate to where Jack stood by the door. Who's that? Kate tensed. A friend. Does your friend have a name? Kate hesitated, but Jack stepped forward. Jack Reynolds. Recognition flickered in Sarah's eyes, then horror. Reynolds? As in ... Yes, Jack said quietly. Sarah's hand tightened around Kate's. Why is he here? It's complicated, Kate answered. No, Jack said, moving closer to the bed. It's simple. I'm here because your sister works for me, because she's changed my son's life, and because 3 years is too long to live with hate. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. I killed your wife. I destroyed your family. Yes, Jack agreed. You did. I don't remember doing it. The doctors say I never will. Sarah's voice broke. But I live with it every day anyway. Jack was silent for a long moment. Then, so do I. I can never make it right, Sarah whispered. No, Jack said, but maybe we can all stop being defined by the worst moment of our lives. 6 months later, Kate stood in the small commercial kitchen she now rented 3 nights a week, preparing for her first pop-up restaurant event. The culinary school scholarship had mysteriously come through after all. Though she suspected Jack's influence, he never admitted it. The door opened and Ethan wheeled in, his movements more controlled now, his smile brighter. Dad's parking the car, he announced. He said to tell you he's nervous for you, which is weird because Dad's never nervous. Kate laughed, wiping her hands on her apron. Tell him that's not helpful. Ethan grinned. He also said to give you this. He handed her a small box. Inside was a key and a business card for a small storefront 3 blocks from the Reynolds home. Jack appeared in the doorway. It needs work, he said, watching her face. But the location's good. The realtor thinks it would make a great restaurant. Jack, I can't accept this. It's not a gift. It's an investment. He moved closer. With some conditions. Which are, you name a dish after Ethan. You let him bus tables on weekends when he's older, and... He hesitated. You have dinner with the investor at least once a week. To discuss business? Kate felt a smile tugging at her lips. Just business? To start with? Ethan rolled his eyes. You guys are weird. Kate looked down at the key in her palm. 3 years ago, her sister's mistake had shattered 2 families. Now, somehow, from those broken pieces they were building something new. Not perfect, not without pain, but possible. Deal, she said, closing her hand around the key. But I'm paying you back. Every penny. Jack smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. I never doubted it for a second. As her first customers began to arrive, Kate caught a glimpse of herself reflected in the polished surface of the kitchen counter. She hardly recognized the woman staring back. Stronger, steadier, no longer defined by what she'd lost, but by what she was building. Some mistakes destroy lives, and some, somehow, after enough time and enough courage, begin them. Thank you for joining us for this story of redemption and second chances. If these words touched your heart, please remember to support more stories like this by subscribing and sharing with others who might need reminder that even our darkest moments don't have to define us forever.